Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. Honored to be connecting in with you here on The Author's Journey, where we have amazing conversations with best-selling authors, and they pull back the curtains and really share the journey with us. So I'm very honored to have you connecting in with us today, and we're in sometimes what we call the holiday season. We're in that. And as we are looking at what is ahead in December and future months, and we're looking ahead at the coming year, it's great to do a check-in and really take a moment for you. So I celebrate that you are leaning into our conversation. You're taking a moment for you to allow us to pour into you and to support you, especially during that busy holiday season. It's such an honor and a privilege to connect in with you. So thank you for being here today, and I want to invite you to be fully present. It's so easy in the hustle and bustle to be trying to multitask, so I want to invite you to choose to be fully present. Take a breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth, like through a straw. And it's amazing, and keep breathing with just that breath, how we can lower our stress levels or cortisol levels. We can become fully present. We are able to then clear space and be able to receive, bringing oxygen to every cell of our body. So keep breathing that beautiful oxygen in, because I want you to get everything that is here for you today. And part of that is choosing to be present. And here's a side benefit. Not only will you be able to fully receive what is here for you today, but you'll also be able to bring a moment of stillness and calmness to your day. And what that allows you to do is not only take in great information and integrate it on a cellular level, it also allows you to take a moment to catch up with yourself. And then when you get ready to go back out into the world, you can do so mindfully and purposely without the to-do list running you, but you're getting to choose the steps that you take forward. So as we're connecting and we're breathing, I want you to take a moment. Close your eyes. Feel in to what is it that you need today to support you, to empower you on your journey. What do you need? What will encourage you, empower you, uplift you? What will be supportive of you that you are willing to receive because you absolutely have choice? What is it that you need and are willing to receive? Knowing that we're coming alongside you. What is it that you need and are willing to receive? Beautiful. Okay, let's take a breath. Come back into the room fully present. Take a moment to write that down, what it is that you need and are willing to receive. I think it's so important that we take a moment to catch up with ourselves, to ground, to be willing to tap in and see what is speaking to us, wanting our attention, and then capturing that, writing that down, keeping it top of mind. That way, throughout our time together today, you can feel into that, see how that need is being supported, as well as you go back out into the world, you're able to keep it top of mind, open to receiving everything that will support you on your journey. And I want you to notice, I didn't have you identify how that need would be met. I just had you identify what it is, or what is the message on your heart. Because here's the wonderful thing. You don't have to figure all the how out. You can be open to receiving it and being looking forward to being surprised in the unexpected and wonderful way that need can be met. The amazing expert we have joining us today is a #1 international best-selling author. She is amazing. I'm going to have her connect in on a heart level with us and share what was on her heart when we took a moment to stop, pause, and listen. But I want to let you know she is someone that has an amazing way of helping us look at things from a little bit different angle. And how can we tap into that genius to be able to bring it forward more and more. And it's an amazing gifting that she has that she's going to be sharing with us today, and insight. So I'm looking forward to the conversation. Charlotte, I'd love for you to share, when you took a moment to stop, pause, and listen, what was on your heart?
So the thing, I always see images. So for me, the image that I saw was steps, or maybe a staircase.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what that meant to me was that in the midst of so many things swirling, it's important to focus on the step, right? It might be one step, it might be two steps, but sometimes swirling doesn't make progress, right? So taking the step is the important thing, being very deliberate.
Thank you. I think that is such an important reminder, especially during this busy season. We don't have to tackle the whole staircase. Just focus on that step or steps. Those next couple of steps feels really good. And that's progress. Mm-hmm. That helps us move forward. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I always like to start at this heart level so we're connected in that space. And then I'm excited to powerfully introduce our amazing guest so you know a little bit more of her formal background. Listeners, I want you to also take in what she was sharing about the step and see how that feels. These messages that were given are to support all of us on our journey. So that can be a really great reminder, one step at a time. We don't need to figure out the whole staircase or tackle the whole staircase. I love that reminder. So let me share a little bit about our amazing #1 international best-selling author, Charlotte Allen. She is the leader of Rebel Success for Leaders. Her mission is to help bring let me start over. Her mission at Rebel Success for Leaders is to bring out the unconventional solutions genius in every team and every company. She works with these teams, these leaders, these organizations, so that they can find a new level of success that they have never achieved before, kind of taking it to that new, beautiful place. She has a PhD, is nationally recognized as a speaker, a sought-after leadership consultant with over 20 years' experience with Fortune 500 companies such as Kraft. And today, she's spending time with us to share what her journey has been like as an author, as well as her amazing expertise and helping us tap into our Rebel success. Please warmly welcome the powerful Rebel leader, Charlotte Allen, to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm really excited to be here with you guys today.
You are very welcome. Thrilled to have you. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about this concept of Rebel success, why this particular way of approaching teams and leaderships and tapping into that special genius. Why is that work personally so important to you?
Right. So for me, my background has always been in kind of showing folks how to do something different and about connecting previously unconnected thoughts, ideas, options. And what is common in a lot of that is that we each bring something to the table. We each have a unique idea, a unique solution to offer. And what I'm very passionate about is that, unfortunately, only 36% of professionals feel empowered to perform their best work. 36%. We all spend so much of our time, at our professions. And those who feel their voices heard are nearly 5 times more likely to perform their best work and to be successful. So there's a big gap between what we have within us and what we're sharing with the world. And for me, that gap is my mission, because I think we could all find ourselves in a much better place if we felt like we could contribute our uniqueness, our solutions, our ideas in the workplace.
Yes. Oh, thank you for sharing. And that is a big gap. I love that you're on mission to help close that gap and empower more people, because we need all the support and creativity and talent that is out there to bring things forward, and we want them empowered to do so. So I appreciate your mission and taking on filling that gap. And I know this has recently led you to releasing your #1 international best-selling book. Congratulations on
Thank you.
achieving. Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting achieving that level of success in bringing your book forward. I'd love for you to share, why did you decide to bring your book forward, and just a little bit of what it's about?
Okay, so why did I decide to bring it forward? I think there's been for years for me this little nudge that says the book needs to be brought forward. I was always receiving feedback from, people I had worked with, clients, coworkers, etc. That what I'm doing is something that ought to be brought up so that more people could take advantage of it. So I, like most people, ignored that nudge for a very long time and finally made the choice. Because I think all things start with making a choice. I decided to act on it. So that is how the book is out, and that is how we were so excited to get to that #1 international bestseller status.
Beautiful.
I'm sorry, what was the second part?
Oh, yes. If you could share the complete title, because it gives a snapshot of what the book's about. And then I know you've prepared a beautiful reading that we get to share. So do you mind giving the full title of your book? And then we'll go into the beautiful reading.
Okay. So the full title is Rebel Success for Leaders, Lead, Grow, and Sell Fearlessly.
Yes.
So when we think about rebel success, the way I talk about it, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not just one person out there sort of leading their charge. We need to be great at leading others, bringing others along, incorporating their ideas and their visions, and we need to grow our skills to do that. And that's true if it's a business or if it's your non-for-profit personal venture. We need to talk about how to do that fearlessly. And I love talking to people about how being fearless is fun. So the book talks a lot about how to do that as well. And,
beautiful. Yeah. And it's I had the opportunity of reading this powerful book, and I love it. You have great tools to help us learn more about ourselves, which I think is great, as well as how are we showing up as a leader, and how can we tap into that more and more, as well as the creative talent and genius on our teams. How do we tap into that more? And you have beautiful examples of that. So I really enjoyed your book. I found it very powerful. And one of the things I appreciate about the reading, I know you're going to do here in just a moment, it shows a little bit, a snapshot in time of your journey, and gives a little feel for the book. So I'd love for you to share your beautiful reading with us.
Absolutely. So I'll give a little setup. This is near the beginning. I am at that time working in a hospital, and this part that I'm going to pick up with is me meeting a patient for the first time, and kind of what happened. So her face was lined deeply, especially the line between her eyebrows. Her life was etched on her face, the good and mostly the difficulties. Her eyes were amazing, though. They were the kind of eyes that were wise and filled with love and knowing. They bore deep inside you when she looked at you, making you feel good, but also slightly uncomfortable. She had the gift of always being present, meaning she was never anywhere but right there with you. When she reached out to touch your hand or your arm, there was a slight undercurrent, not static electricity, but some kind of energy that drew your attention to her. By now, I'm super cautious about everything, what I say, what I do, what I document. So I introduce myself and explain why I'm there and then begin to do an initial evaluation. She says to me, "This patient I have never met before. I've been waiting for you, Charlotte. You have so much to give, but you just need to open up yourself more so that people can connect to who you are." Maybe you can imagine what's going through my mind at this point. She doesn't know me at all and has never met me before. Delusional, reaction to her medicine, or someone else talking about me with her. Her comments make me stop and pause. That moment where you're rationalizing what's going on as wrong and crazy, defending yourself, but also that little seed of truth has germinated somewhere. That seed we don't see or believe. It's hiding from us, secretly growing until it sprouts above ground and we can see it. Thelma, that's her name. She's elderly, frail, less than 5 feet tall. Her lungs consumed with a disease that prevents her from breathing with the ease we all enjoy. Her life as a Black woman in the South was difficult. Her life spanned segregation to integration. Later in life, she was allowed to have cleaning jobs for a very meager wage. She had a big family with lots of tragedy, but also enormous love and support. She was quietly wise, the kind of person who doesn't say much, but when she does, everyone around her hangs on every letter of every word. She speaks with intent and lives with greater purpose. Somehow, I absorbed this scene I was in without really understanding in it and sat down in the chair beside her bed. "You don't know me," I say to her. "Honey, you're such a rebel," she replies with a giggle. "It doesn't become you, but you'll learn." And then we're silent as we stare at each other. That moment was very impactful for me as I progressed through my career choices. And near the end of that chapter, I talk a lot about how it struck me that I had become Selma for a group of people, for the group that I was leading. It wasn't something that was part of my responsibilities. But it was what I was called to do. I helped these people see things about themselves that allowed them to grow and become better versions of who they already were, successful rebel leaders. I had become the leader that Thelma had predicted, and you can too.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Listeners, I want you to stay present. Really take in that message and that beautiful share that Charlotte has gifted us as she has shared from her heart and from her book with you. And when we come back, we're going to dig in deeper to what the journey has been like as stepping into bringing her book forward, launching it, becoming a bestseller, and how that is impacting her life and her work. But take a moment to really sink into her beautiful message, and we'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes. You had the opportunity to really reflect on, feel into that powerful reading that Charlotte shared. I love how you can be that leader too, that rebel success, that leader too. What a powerful share. And that moment when Charlotte, I could just feel it and see it as you read that you had become Thelma to the people that you were working with. And what a beautiful moment, and to recognize it and embrace it. So thank you for sharing that segment of your book and the opening, just really powerful. And before we go too far here in talking about the journey, I'd love for you to share for anyone that is wanting to be able to get your book and lean in, what are the best ways for them to do that? Where can they go?
You can get the book on Amazon. So just search for Rebel Success for Leaders, and that's where you can find it.
Perfect. Perfect. And I know it's in a print format for those of you who like print, and in a Kindle format. So we encourage you to check that out and enjoy this powerful book, because that was just a taste of the powerful and inspiring information contained in this book. But I wanted to just take a step back and have us share what some of the journey was like. So from idea, because you mentioned in the earlier segment how you'd had that kind of pushing and pressing at you, speaking to you for a couple of years to bring it forward, and then you made that decision to bring it forward. And from making that decision to starting to craft the message and bring your book forward, were there surprises in the creation process of creating your manuscript?
There were surprises at almost every turn. So I will say, in a business sense, I had written many things, but writing and publishing a book was something I had not done. So I was going into this completely new, completely not savvy, and quite honestly, not knowing what I was going to write and how I wanted the message to show up. Because if we talk about Charlotte, these are your experiences in your professional career, is it just as simple as writing a how-to manual? And I specifically made the decision along the way that I wanted it to be more, I interface a lot of personal stories, or I would say non-business stories along with the business stories, because this is something I wanted people to think about as part of them, not just something they showed up and put on their outfit and went to the office and that's when they use it. So I would say that I had no clue what I was doing at the end of the day. It was from something as simple as, how do I write this? What do I say? What kind of writing style is important to people? What's the message? Like, how do I knit together a message such that people would pick it up and it would be meaningful to them? So to say that I was clueless would be pretty accurate. But how do I get started, right?
Yeah, but I'll say that you had really clear intentions, though. You really knew some of how you wanted people to use it and receive it and have it be. So I feel like you were very intentional about your goals and what you were wanting it to do and be in and that mixture you wanted to bring forward. But you're right. It's different to have that idea, but then how do I write it? So continue. Right. I'd love for you to keep sharing. Yeah, it's great.
And there's so many ways that this could have come out, right? So for me, it was really about the steps, right? So if I go back to the vision I had at the beginning of the show, was just take a step, right? It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, just take a step, and then each day we'll take another step. So it was about writing something, and quite honestly, finding folks who can give you feedback, finding a wonderful coach who can help me really understand how I wanted to convey it, what I wanted to convey, and how to do it. So it was, the nuts and bolts of it were writing something every day. That's kind of low risk. If it turns out badly, there's always the shredder, right? Then you could start over. But it was really about the something to do every day. It was really about how do I chunk it out? How do I make sense of it? What's the flow? What do I want to include? What do I not want to include? Which stories are really impactful and how do they tie to the message? What are those things? And I was very conscious of making sure this was something that people could use. So what are those things that I can give the reader that they could incorporate immediately into their day, into their life, into their situations, that could potentially have some impact as they incorporate this into their journey. So that was important to me as well.
I love that. And I love that you got help and support, and you shared that, this was your first time bringing something like this forward, and getting that feedback, being open to it, I think is huge, because sometimes we're not. So being open to that, and being very mindful of the reader's experience in the book, and what you're looking to do and bring forward, I think is brilliant. So as your book's coming forward and it's getting ready to be published and to be brought forward, you made a decision to not just release the book, but to launch the book and to do a best-selling campaign while you're bringing the book forward. So I'd love to know why you made that decision, and what was that experience like, launching it and being so visible, because it creates a lot of visibility when it's released, and you're very involved in that. I'd love for you to share a little bit about why you decided to do that, not just release, but launch, and what that experience was like.
Right. So there's two images that kept going in my mind during that time frame. One was step into leadership, right? So that's a phrase that just kept popping up into my mind. And the second phrase that just kept popping into my mind was, while this is a culmination, it is only just the beginning. And so those are the two things. So as there's so much that happens right before you publish, release, launch. And then for some people, that's kind of the end, right? And for me, I was very cognizant along the way that was only the beginning, right? It was if one page closed and another page opened, or one door closed and another door opened. So for me, it is about stepping into that leadership. It is about how can I participate in helping other people use these tools, techniques, practices, learnings. How can they incorporate that into their own life, and how can they see success in ways they've never seen success before? And I think that it is the process is super active, right? So it is, how do you prep for it? And you and your team did a great job of helping me through that and giving me, kind of a framework. And then I took that framework and kind of personalized it, how I showed up, in sort of social media settings. How did I want to portray myself? Constantly, though, I was thinking about, okay, if somebody reads this or sees this, what is that going to mean for them? And not to diminish what I was doing, but more to make sure that I was doing things in such a way that they would be received with the impact that I was hoping that they would be received in. So it's a busy process. It is a few days of very intense focus, being out there in the world. And then that starts the next stage, right? So then it's about, how do you continue to get the message out there? How do you sort of convey that to people? How are you sharing the parts of the book that are important? How are you speaking? One of the things I want to do is speak on that topic. How are you working individually with people and teams and groups to help them through this? It's not a manual I want to hand over. It's something I want to help participate with people, help them realize those benefits. So yes, all of that is a very big thing, and it does make you look differently at yourself. It does make you pause and think about that. And I was, by the time I got there, I was ready for it. I just became super cognizant of it.
Thank you for sharing that. I love how one page closed or one door closed and another open, that it's a continuation, that it isn't like that was the end, that was the beginning of the next phase, and how you became very aware and purposeful in how you were choosing to show up in that, to lay the groundwork for where you're going with the book and what you're doing. So it wasn't just becoming a bestseller, which of course that's the goal of that day, but it's planting the seeds, it's laying the groundwork for where everything is going, how you're being seen, what you're bringing to the world. And I love how aware and purposeful you were in that. That's not something I hear from everybody we talk to. So I love that that was your approach and you were so aware. If someone is thinking about bringing their book forward and possibly launching it, doing the best-selling campaign, do you have any advice for them wherever they may be on their journey, but a tip or a piece of advice that you'd like to share with them to support them on their journey?
Well, gosh, I would probably have a lot. But what I would say, if you're at the beginning and you're making the decision about whether or not you want to publish, I would say that I had this question of myself: does anybody really care? Does anybody really care what I have to say, right? And is this going to matter? And I think that all of us know our expertise, and a lot of us think of that expertise as ours, and it's important to us, and it's helped us get to X, Y, or Z point in our life. But does it matter to anybody else, right? So what I would say is think about what you would do if you met a person and that person could have benefited from the advice you could have brought forth, or the information or the message you could have brought forth with your book, but you did not. And that person did not have the opportunity to benefit from that. So that would be, in my mind, the reason to move forward with it. I would say get some help, right? There are many points along the journey where it's important to bring other people in, and you need to kind of feel good about that, to your point, receive that feedback and hear what folks who've done this more than you have can help you through. And then just do something every day, because it's very overwhelming when you think about all the things you do, from deciding you want to do it to the point where you launch. It's overwhelming. So as long as you're doing something every day, you will get there. It may not be on the exact date you wanted to have, but you will get there.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. As we get ready to go to our next commercial break, I want you just to take a moment, feel into that beautiful advice and the wisdom and insight that Charlotte has shared with us. And when we come back, we're going to let you know how you can go deeper, connect in with Charlotte, and she's going to share a final beautiful piece of advice. We'll look forward to talking to you in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that time to really take in that beautiful wisdom, that beautiful advice. And for any of you who are on the journey, writing, wanting to bring your book forward, really, really great, practical, real advice that Charlotte has shared with us. I mean, Charlotte, I appreciate you pulling back the curtain, speaking candidly and openly to us of what the journey is like, and taking that step by step by step, and that assurance that you'll get there. You just keep taking steps. I think was really powerful. And if you're writing, taking that step every day, and what you wrote isn't something you want to bring forward, we have the shredder, we have the delete button, and then you get to write. It doesn't mean that. Yeah, I think that's empowering too. So the risk level goes down of taking those consistent steps to bringing your book forward and helping it have the impact it's called to have, and and bringing its purpose and mission forward in touching people's lives. So thank you so much again for sharing. And I wanted to circle back around to this expertise that you have in really helping people tap into their rebel success, tapping into their leadership, tapping into it in a different way, and perhaps a new way from how they have ever looked at leadership before, or they have ever looked at some of their talents before. And I'd love for you to share any tips that you have if we're feeling this pull of rebel success. I love how that feels. I want to tap into more of my success, playing to how I'm made. What tip or advice do you have as a good starting place for that, or a next step?
Sure. From rebel success principles, characteristics, what I often talk about is that we, as leaders, as individuals, need a way to frame up how do we come up with these ideas that are so true to us. Most of us hear them; they're like little thoughts and comments. Many of us do not voice them. So the first step is let's recognize them, let's voice them, let's get them out there. And then it becomes a bit of, okay, we're out there, we've got this sort of fragile little idea, and then how do we grow it? How does it become something that will be successful? How do we gain inputs from others? So in the book, I talk a lot about these 4 characteristics that I've seen play out quite frequently in those who have rebel success. And an individual may have an array of these characteristics as strengths, or may have these or some portion of these characteristics as opportunity areas. And we can all choose. These are not like personality traits which are fixed. These are traits which we can change, which we can work on, which we can develop ourselves or develop our team and develop others along this route. So we put together an assessment that I use the term rebel rating to describe. And it's kind of a fun little thing that we allow people to take, and we allow people to understand, where they start, where are you today? And then you can decide as you move forward what you may, if anything, want to, progress to do about it. If you're called to say, wow, I'd really love to do some portion of this differently than I am today, and I see that as important, we can help people move that needle down the path. So it's short. It's not very long. It's for those who have a copy of the book. There's a space in the back that gives you the link. Do you want me to share that here, Rebecca?
Yeah, I would love for you to share the link. Absolutely, please.
Okay. So our website is rebelsuccessforleaders.com. And then to get to the rating, you would do /book-rebel rating. That should get you there. If for whatever reason it doesn't get you there, but you end up getting to the website, you can always use the Contact Me button, and we will point you in the right direction.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think that's such a great tool to have an assessment, kind of know where you're at. And that helps anyone that's coming alongside you. If they have a better understanding of where you're at, what you're looking to do, they're more able to come alongside you and support you more powerfully. So I think that's just an amazing tool. Beautiful. Thank you for making it available to our listeners. And I know that you have another amazing tool that's going to be available this month. I'd love for you to share as well.
Yep, just one more comment on the rebel rating.
Sure.
If you're a leader of a team, what I would always recommend is that you look at the distribution of your team members and ensure that you have sort of characteristics across the spectrum. Right, that's kind of really important. So for those who have teams, that's another additional benefit of using the rebel rating with yourself and your team. I just wanted to add that. And then, yes, the new news, right, that's going to be available soon is a companion journal for the Rebel Success for Leaders, Lead, Grow, and Sell Fearlessly book. And I'm really excited about that because what I wanted to do with the journal was really provide space so that folks could participate in that journey themselves on a frequent basis, however frequently they wanted to plug in or engage. But how are they how are they making progress? How are they reflecting? How are they acting on some of those activities that we talk about in the book? And I'm super excited that that's coming out soon, and that, your listeners will be able to take advantage of it if they find that of interest.
Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing. Everyone, you heard it here first. We're excited to share that news. So not only is this powerful book available on Amazon, but the companion journal to allow you to go deeper and really take in, integrate, process the valuable information, insight that you're gaining from the book. And that's how you dial it up, take it to another level. So I think that's an amazing resource that you're making available. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I'd love for you to share with people if they want to go deeper, they want to connect in with you. What's the best way to do that?
Sure. Obviously, the website, rebelsuccessforleaders.com, you can learn a bit about, how we might be available for speaking opportunities, what the consulting approach might look like. You can always send us an email. So my name, Charlotte, at rebelsuccessforleaders.com is the way to reach me. So I would love to hear from your listeners. I would love to talk to as many people as I can about Rebel Success, because I think it's super exciting and super fun.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Listeners, I want to thank you for joining in, connecting with us. I hope you found her powerful shares insightful. I know I did. I always love hearing about an author's journey. And as you listen to her show, you'll hear some consistent things and some unique things in every person's journey. And our goal is to support you on yours. As you are stepping forward, as you are moving forward on your journey in life, both your journey as an author, perhaps, and looking to bring your book forward, or you have brought your book forward and you're continuing that journey, but really getting insights, tips, and information to support you, because I believe each and every one of you are needed. The information that you have been given is transformational and absolutely needed in the world. So whether you are called to share it heart by heart, life by life, in a written format, in a book, as a speaker, in interviews, whatever way and avenues you're given to share it, I want to invite you to do so, because life is not a solo journey. We need each other, and we have an opportunity to lift each other up, to walk beside each other. So as you go back out into the world, I want you to take a moment, just a minute, and really reflect on what Charlotte has shared with you, what has been spoken to your heart and spirit. And because of what you know now, what is a step you're going to take today? How are you mindfully, purposely going to step forward? And with that, may every step lead you to the next. I look forward to seeing you shining and sharing out in the world. Have a beautiful day, everybody, and I will look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall Gruyter for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.